Greetings! I'd like to welcome you to the Western Iowa Tech Community College campus in Sioux City, Iowa. I'm Dr. Frank Hefner, instructor of history, political science, and geography. Today, you're going to get to view an Asian art presentation, which I think you'll find fascinating. The presentation will be delivered by Dr. Edwin Blackburn. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today we're going to show some slides on Chinese and Japanese art. It's an illustration of the different kinds of cultures that are there. And one learns by polarity as well as similarity. And you can appreciate American and Western art as well as you can appreciate Chinese and Japanese art because of the differences. One of the things that I want to make certain you understand is that you understand another culture partly by looking at the landscapes they have. Because the landscape, particularly for traditional Chinese and Japanese paintings, are an integral part of what they were trying to do, what they were trying to say. For instance, this first slide we have here, it shows that man is present, but he's not dominating. You can see man because he is in the water, which is formed for rice paddies. But the mountains are in the background, there are clouds there, but man does not dominate the paintings or the slides itself. But when you look at these things and you'll see that we have a different kind of a structure there. This next slide, again, you'll find the yellow of the earth, and they use that in a sense for their paintings. But you can see man is there too because he terraced the land. And one thing about the terracing of the land is that they actually brought up soil from the rivers and actually made terracing areas, which at the time was a great cultivation, but it makes it difficult to use modern machinery, tractors and so forth, in these small areas. This is what is called the Three Gorge Valley. And the Chinese frequently painted the same thing over and over again. In much of Western art, they sometimes try to paint things differently, new subjects, new ways of doing it. The Chinese traditional wanted to paint the same thing that other people had done. And the gorge here are beautiful gorges, which are going to be destroyed by the new dam that's coming in. But this was a typical kind of art that they would come and paint. They had painted again and again. The idea was not to paint something new, but to somehow paint something that was similar there. And you'll see in the background there is some clouds, misty kind of things, and we'll have more to say about that later on. This is one part of the Great Wall of China, and it looks like almost like a dragon's back that runs across China for several thousand miles. It was built to keep the barbarians, the northern people, out. It was big enough they could actually have chariots and horses on these things. A tremendous amount of construction of that. You can see again the work here. It has lasted for thousands of years, and it looks like, again, like a dragon back. This is another shot of in the northern China, the camels carrying the loads into China itself. You see the roof lines they have, and we'll say more about that. But you can see that the roof lines portray a particular way in which the Chinese express themselves. This is a shot of the Peking, in which the palace, the Forbidden City, is there. It's laid out in rectangular forms. And you'll see that in the time in the Western world, many of the streets followed paths. They were crooked. They didn't grow straight. And the China from the very early times had for its major cities straight paths, geometrically straight. This is another slide it shows the Forbidden Palace area, and a great, you can see the regularity and structure that they have. In the Forbidden Palace, you have these marble gates. This again is a shot of the marble going on to the Forbidden Palace itself. This is the Temple of Heaven, Tian. Once a year, the emperor went to the Temple of Heaven to pray, to bring prosperity to the land, but only once a year did he go there. And you can see that the roundness there of the temple itself. Again, this is another shot of the Forbidden Palace area. You can see the tremendous growth that a city of Peking, Beijing now it's called, has. This is an actual painting of the Forbidden Palace area. This is the great square in Peking, from which Mao stood up there and watched. Literally tens of thousands of people could be assembled in this square at any one time. It was a center of parades, a center of protests several years ago, but it's lasted for a long time. Here's a shot of a home, and I want to mention something about the houses. You'd go, if you went down to a Chinese village or home or area. I never have been in China, but you would find that there are no windows on the outside. There's a courtyard in the middle. The home was a self-contained unit, in which the family and grandparents and grandchildren lived and lived in this area, kind of isolated by themselves. They were a separate family. You walk down the streets of an American city, and you see the homes with grass in front, with windows where you can see in and they can see out. There's an openness in our society. In much of China, they wanted to emphasize the family was a unit, and the kind of homes they had illustrate this kind of unit that one sees. This is one of the first paintings that we have of early Chinese, showing the emperors. This is one of my favorite shots. I want to express some thoughts about this. Here you have a natural paintings, a series of different kinds of things. You'll see here is the dragonfly. You can see the wings of the dragon. You can see the mosquitoes in the air. And if you go back to the previous slide on the right side, from a distance you can't see this. And one of the things you'll find in Chinese paintings is the closer you come, the more you see. It was like it's more like nature. The more you close up to nature, the more that you will be able to see there. Whereas sometimes in Western paintings, if you get too close, it becomes blurry. You do not see that. But this is a case where the closer you come, the more you see. And you can find there's a frog you can see on the left side that it was difficult to see in the first slide. And you can see that there's a frog there, and you can see the dragonflies and the flies. And if we had a close-up of the other parts of the painting, they'd be just as vivid and great as that. Notice how the leaves are typically the way they are in nature. They're not trying to make them straight, not trying to make them organized. And again, you see here a grasshopper, which was in that picture before. You can see the legs of the grasshopper. You can see the knees that he has. And you can notice that even the reeds that are there are what they would be in nature. They didn't try to make them look pretty. They made them what they actually were.